I want to bring in now our intelligence and security analyst and former CIA operative Bob Baer, along with the former Supreme Allied Commander of NATO, retired General Wesley Clark. All right, thanks so much to both of you. Bob, let me start with you, because obviously a threat in and of itself isn't unusual, but one of this scale, closing 21 embassies, pretty much a blanket warning across an entire region, that is unprecedented. What do you think they're looking at?
Well, you know, it is. 21 embassies and consulates is a lot. I mean, this is really sending a message that we're under serious threat. I take it seriously. The worldwide travel, warning is also very serious. I think they've probably picked up some very good chatter, very specific, that something's going to happen this Sunday. At the same time, they can't say whether this is maybe a misdirection, that they're planning actually to attack someplace else, maybe in the United States, maybe in Europe. It's hard to tell, but they're obligated to put this warning out. And
General Clark, let me ask you about what Bob just said, that it may happen somewhere else. I mean, this is an unprecedented sort of thing that's just happened, right? So, I mean, it's one thing or the other, right? The U.S. government either does know what they're planning and is doing this blanket because they don't want the terrorists to know that they know, or the U.S. government is afraid, but they don't actually know themselves where the terrorists might strike. Which do you think it is?
Well, we don't know right now, but my guess is that we know a little bit more than what's being said publicly. Obviously, if we've got lines on what the terrorists are saying, we may be able to deter it. That's good. Better if we can take the terrorists out. We don't know what the ultimate play is here, but I've got a lot of confidence in the people that have set this up behind the scenes in the State Department and in the Pentagon. I think we've got a lot better grip on this than we did during Benghazi. We're ready for it. I'm sure there's a lot more than just Marines standing by. So I think it's the prudent thing that the administration's done.
And Bob, what about the timing? They're saying they're doing this on Sunday because they have a specific threat. Sunday obviously is just before the formal end of the fasting time in the Muslim faith of Ramadan, which could be significant, but it's not after it, it's before it ends. So what about the specificity of this day? Because here's another question I would have. I mean, so they close them on Sunday and then the terrorists just readjust, right, and do it another day, or to your point, in another place in the United States. Would they be able to, from what you know at this point of al-Qaeda, to have that flexibility and to shift?
Oh, they've got the flexibility, but I think the intelligence has picked up a specific day. That's why they mentioned it. It's a graphic warning, and it's a warning they can't let pass in case something happens. But on the other hand, they're certainly prepared to look at this to see if the attacks push back, which it may be, or the place change. It doesn't have to be in Yemen. Remember that before 9/11, the alerts for the first month were about attacks in Turkey, either on the embassy or an Air Force base there. And in fact, of course, they happen in New York and Washington. And they're looking at this right now to see if they're not trying to deceive us, which is always possible.
Which, of course, is frightening because, we haven't seen that same kind of alert level raised here at the homeland. Let me ask you, General Clark, last summer, of course, I broadcast on the border of northern Mali, and the night that we were live there happened to be the same night the president was at a fundraiser talking about al-Qaeda being on the run. And on that night, we stood there and said, the president just said this, and it does not feel that way where we are now. An area, of course, in northern Mali that was completely controlled by extremists linked to al-Qaeda. But the president has said it many times and in many ways that al-Qaeda is on the run. Let me play it for you.
We've got al-Qaeda on the run.
Most of them are now on the run.
Al-Qaeda is on the run, and we got bin Laden. Al-Qaeda's on the run, and Osama bin Laden is dead. Al-Qaeda is on the run. Osama bin Laden is dead.
It may be a new al-Qaeda, a more splintered al-Qaeda, but they don't certainly, when you look at the most unprecedented broad threat response in American history here, closing 21 embassies, certainly don't seem to be on the run.
Well, I think we've got to be alert to this. And yes, we did take out Osama bin Laden, and we, as soon as the next ops chief pops up, we take him out in the central node of al-Qaeda. So it's a much different threat than it was before, but it's still dangerous. And it can transform itself. You've got people who spend their lives plotting how to hurt Americans. So until every one of those people is eliminated or they change their motivations, we've got a continuing issue. I think what the president was trying to say was the central nervous system of the old al-Qaeda had been broken down and decapitated with getting rid of Osama bin Laden. And that's a good thing. But it's not the end of it.